In tonight's episode of 911, the first responders frequently deal with instances that are peculiar, if not outright strange. At one point, Athena was contacted regarding a kidnapping of an elderly person. A man's wife had gone with his mother, and his mother had been abducted against her will, according to the information that she received. For the time being, everyone was summoned to assist Athena with what they believed to be an elderly woman who was being imprisoned against her will. As it turned out, the mother had passed away. A disagreement arose between the married couple regarding her ashes. She has been deceased for some time now. The husband tore out the crafts corner that belonged to his wife in order to construct a shrine for his mother. The way he did it was strange to his wife. The ashes of her mother-in-law were taken by her. Later on, she was taken into custody, but the investigation did not end there. The husband placed the ashes of his mother in a vase that was of a very high price. The vase has a tremendous amount of value. That information was withheld from the wife by the husband since he was aware that they would eventually end up divorcing, and he did not want to give her any of the money that his family had inherited. Tonight, he was able to retrieve the vase. After that, he fell, which resulted in the vase falling. It broke apart. The ashes of his mother disappeared into the void. Due to the fact that the house is in her name, and she was never going to forgive him for placing ashes over her, he was unable to even get back together with his wife. Even yet, life might be somewhat peculiar for each and every person. Not limited to first responders only. Eddie has resumed his attendance at the nearby church. Everything that took place between his son and the doppelganger of his deceased wife was something that he disclosed to his priest. The poor priest was at a loss for words when confronted with it. This was Eddie's first experience with a case. In the end, he advised Eddie to give his son some much-needed distance. Prayer was another method that he offered for obtaining solace. While this was going on, Buck discovered that he had a former partner with his current boyfriend. It was Abby Clark, who they both dated. Over the course of 2 years, Tommy was even engaged to her. Tommy is the one who decided to give up on the endeavor. It dawned on him that he was gay. Aside from the fact that he had heard that she had become involved with a major himbo shortly after their breakup, he did not want to continue to lead her on. At the time, Tommy was unaware that he was describing Buck. It was revealed to Buck that they were dating the same person. There was no way he could possibly tell Tommy. They had recently celebrated their anniversary of being together for 6 months. Tommy purchased tickets for him to see the Lakers. A supper was paid for by Buck. After that, he went to his sister to get her opinion on what he should do. Buck is concerned about Tommy. Simply said he believed that Tommy was being unkind to Abby, which is what prompted Josh to contribute to the conversation. Formerly, Josh and Abby were co-workers. Even though he has never met Tommy, he is not in a position to pass judgment on him. Both the world before and the world after Glee contained gay people, according to Josh, who shared this information with Buck. It was necessary for the guys who came in before that to make terrible choices in order to stay alive. It's adorable that Buck doesn't want anyone to suffer any kind of harm. It was only because of the sacrifices that others had made in order to pave the road for him that he eventually became an openly gay man. Buck has a deep affection for Tommy. Because of Josh's guidance, he was able to refrain from passing judgment on his boyfriend. In the meantime, Maddie was making jokes about the number of males that Abby transformed into a gay man. Aside from the jokes, Maddie was dealing with her own problems. He was taken aback when she revealed to Chimney that they should most likely have a second child. Neither of them were children in their own right. Maddie cherished the fact that she had a younger sibling. Similarly, she desired the same for Ji-Yun. On the other hand, Chimney made it clear that she did not wish to experience another roller coaster trip. Following the delivery of their daughter, Maddie experienced a severe case of postpartum depression. She was on the verge of death. Her child was on the verge of being killed. He did not want to take the chance, and he believed that adopting a child would be a more advantageous choice than having a second child through natural means. It is not a problem for Maddie to adopt. She wouldn't dismiss that concept out of hand. For some reason, she enjoys having Ji-Yun around. When she looks at their daughter, she sees both herself and Chimney. In addition to that, she stated that postpartum depression was not a given. They were aware of the dangers at this point. If Maddie needs to, she can always return to therapy. A second child of their own is something that she would like to have. Chimney and she had different opinions regarding that matter. Subsequently, when the firefighters were called to the scene of an accident, they were not communicating with one another. A young child was injured when they fell down a drain pipe that was open. Jack is his given name. It had been planned that Jack's older brother Miles would be the one to read to him. The last thing Miles wanted was to be bothered. During this time, their parents were engaged in a heated argument with the contractors who were meant to be constructing the new pool. After receiving the instruction from Miles to get lost, Jack headed outside. Through the drain pipe, he fell down. This was noticed by Miles. He had informed their parents. 911 was dialed by them. In the time it took for the firefighters to arrive, Jack had already begun to gradually disappear further down the drain. Miles agreed to help out because the firefighters were not able to send them in after Jack, because they were too small. Jack was able to avoid death thanks to Miles's support. This was the point at which Miles didn't even mind reading Jack his favorite story anymore. He was aware of the fact that he was Jack's older brother and that it was his responsibility to watch after him. During the call, there was a tender moment. It's not always the case that the firefighters get that. Particularly not after they have seen the content of an ex-husband's stomach pour out during the divorce process. As he lies, he lets out a sneeze. The only time he sneezed was when he promised that he would never cheat on his wife again. He did not sneeze when he stated that he had never loved his wife. Chimney came to the realization that being truthful was the best policy. Moreover, he came to the realization that perhaps his daughter should have a sibling. Later, Chimney had a conversation with Maddie. He consented to the creation of a second child. After that, he discovered that she was already carrying a child. Despite this, he did not mind. Only joy was felt by both he and Maddie. The news was something that they couldn't wait to share with their families. In the future, Ji-Yun was going to be an incredible older sister, just like Maddie. No matter what, Maddie would not give up Buck for anything. Even after he had experienced a heartbreak, she was there for him. Sadly, Buck was dumped. In addition, he disclosed to Tommy the fact that he had a romantic relationship with Abby. After that, he acted in a capricious manner. He made the request to move in with Tommy, but Tommy declined his offer. Buck's first foray into the gay community was with Tommy. Due to the fact that Buck has not yet understood everything there is to know about being gay, he was aware that Buck was not yet prepared to settle down. The relationship between Tommy and Buck was severed. It was because he did not want to cause his own heart to be broken that he did it. As a result, Buck was once again without a wife. And Eddie was finally succeeding in putting his despair in the past, all owing to the guidance that he received from Father Brian.